Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi everyone, my name is Harlina Zumiarti. I am from E1 English Education UNISSULA. Today, I want to present my lesson plan that I have a week ago in English subject, and the main material is how to introduce yourself and the response for class 7 in the first semester. Number one is a core competencies, atau yang sering kita sebut dengan kompetensi inti. There are four. Number one is appreciate and live the teaching of the religion he adheres to. Number two is appreciate and live honest behavior. And then understanding knowledge, and then trying, processing, and presenting in the concentrate drill. And then we move to basic competence atau kompetensi dasar. Number one is be grateful for the opportunity to learn English. And then understanding social function, text structure, and then linguistic element. And then prepare simple spoken and written text to express and ask question and respond. For indicator, there are five. Number one is able to identify the structure of the text in self-introduction. Number two is be able to mention the social function. Number three is able to identify vocabulary in self-introduction, and then able to communicate using self-introduction expression according to the context, and then able to respond to expression of self-introduction. And the learning objective, there are six. Number one is students are able to identify the structure. Students are able to mention the social function, and then students are able to identify vocabulary. Students are able to communicate using self-introduction. Number five is students are able to respond, and then students are able to write self-introduction. For learning material is social function is introduction is a way to build interpersonal relationship with the teacher and friends. Number two is text structure. For opening is the example, hello, hi class, hi everybody, good morning. For introduction is my name is blah blah blah. I am blah 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 years old. I live in. My hobby is, my favorite song is. For asking, we can ask, for example, what is your name? How old are you? Where do you live? What is your hobby? What is your favorite song? And for response is, hi, hello, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you too. How do you do? For linguistic element atau unsur kebahasaan, there are vocabulary, sentence structure, and then pronunciation. And learning method for approach is scientific. Learning model is discovery-based learning, and then learning method is communicative language teaching. For media, tools, and learning research, media is video conversation about the material, tools, laptop, LCD, and then active speaker. For learning step, there are two meetings. First meeting is activity learning step, is give greetings. For example, hello, good morning student, how are you? And then introduce yourself. My name is, and then provide brainstorming in the form of games related to the material to be taught. And then the teacher asks students to follow the games provided. and then explain the learning objective or basic competencies, and then delivering material coverage and explanation of activity description in accordance with the syllabus. And to reply to greetings teacher, the student can say, "Good morning, miss, I am fine." For core activities, number one is observe. For observe, the teacher shows a video. The teacher shows a video about self-introduction to student. The teacher asks the student to relevance of the content of the video conversation. The teacher asks student about situation that require student to introduce themselves. The teacher asks student what things are often taught about themselves to someone. The teacher asks students to write down the self-introduction phrase after they are shown the video and practicing orally. For asking, the teacher asks questions about information that is not understood from the introductory expression that have been exempted. For gathering information, the teacher asks students to pair up to make a dialogue text about self-introduction expression. Students pay attention to the show, students respond to teacher, students write about self-introduction and practice orally, students respond to teacher, students discuss the expression in a dialogue that they have learning during the learning process. For closing, the teacher provides feedbacks on the learning process and result. And then the second meeting is the first is say hello and prepare to play together, and then prepare student to participate in the learning process. Attending student contextually motivate student according to the benefit of learning text about self-introduction, expression, and response. Asking question to review the previous material. Delivering learning objective or basic competencies to be achieved, and student prepare themselves. We need 10 minutes. For core associate, number one is the teacher asks students to discuss in pairs to come to the front of the class. The teacher provides feedbacks to students. Students discuss in pairs, come to front of the class, practice dialogue and about self-introduction expression and the response. Students pay attention to the teacher. For closing, provide feedback on the learning process and outcomes, like how are you feeling now? Are you happy with our lesson today? And blah, blah. For the evaluation will be held during learning process in the class. There are suppose you just have studied in junior high school, but you don't know anyone in the class. You want to introduce yourself to one of your classmates in order to know each other. Your friend also want to introduce himself to you. How is the way to introduce yourself and respond it? Number one is you are going to work in pair. Number two is make dialogue about introduction. And then for assessment of learning outcomes, for type or instrument rubric, number one is performance or practice, is conduct a dialogue about the introduction in front of the class directly in pairs with the criteria of accuracy and suitability in using the sentences of the introduction ourselves. For criteria score is 4, and then 3, and 2, and 1. Next. And the last is my reason to next. And the last is my reason why I choose this method. The reason why I use the communicative language teaching method is because I think students can use language as tool to communicate, and also students can use language as a tool to express something. In accordance with the material, namely about introducing yourself, I think this method is very appropriate because it is related to language. I think is enough. That's all from me. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.